Hello, I'm Chanel, this is Spirited Stardust, and today I am showing you my tarot collection along with the bags that go with the tarot. So I've had some people ask to see all my bags, so I thought I'd just combine it. I'll show you my collection. So this is the tarot portion, and I'm going to try and keep it quick, so this isn't a 3-hour long video, so let's get started. I'm not going to talk about what the yarn is. If you want to know if there's a particular bag and you're like, I love that yarn, just ask me, and I'll let you know. I'll do close-up of the buttons because I am a button bitch. And I love a good button. So in this bag, generally with my tarot decks, any of my decks, I prefer to match the bags to the backs. So as you can see, I've gone for purple because this is the Pulp Girls Tarot and the backs are purple. So this is a mass market deck and I really enjoy this one. I think it's super cute. I love the female vibes and I like the little quirky guidebook. I also like the diverse representation in terms of the female presenting characters in this one. So this is my Pulp Girls Tarot deck and the matching bag. So next up, some of my bags I did not make. So I did not make this particular bag. This is the bag that I use to house my True Black Tarot. So this deck here is an indie deck. It is probably my favorite deck of all time. So if I could only keep one deck, I would keep this one because I just find it so bloody beautiful. The quality is stunning. It is a rose petal soft touch mat, but it shuffles beautifully. My favorite images are of the figures, so the court cards and the major arcana. It's very it's got an angelic vibe to me, but yeah, I absolutely love this deck. We'll be keeping it forever. Thought I'd zoom out a bit. I think it was a bit too close. So in this bag here, so this bag, I'll show you the button, I did as a tarot mat bag. So I made it extra long so that I could use it as a tarot mat. And in it, I have my Dreams Within Dreams Oracle. So as you can see, I matched it to the back, so it's upside down. This is an indie deck. This was a multi-artist deck. It's got a very sort of fairy tale anime vibe to it. It is varied in terms of the aesthetics because of the artist. This is the card that pretty much sold the deck for me. I don't know why, I just really bloody love that card. It does have some AI art in it, and those are probably my least favorite cards, to be honest. I just wish this deck had a proper guidebook telling me what the basis of the card is, what the image is, because I do feel like a lot of these images come from books or folklore and mythology, and I would love to know what they are. But yeah, this is the Dreams Within Dreams deck. Okay, so next up we've got this little bag. So I just did not have a button to go with this and I didn't want to make one. I'm trying to, what the heck was that sound? I'm trying to use up all the button stash I have because I've recently bought supplies to make my own resin buttons. So this baggie contains the Noisy Museum Tarot deck. So as you can see, it's a deck that's full of greens, and that's why I chose the bag for it. This was an indie deck, and I really love it. The only thing I don't like about this is it does use the elemental symbols, and for some reason that just makes my brain have to do gymnastics to figure it out. But otherwise, I've had a fantastic time. I've gotten into my collage deck era, so anything that's collage at the moment is just grabbing me hard. As this stitch, I think, is Suzette, and it's the one that I tend to do the most. I also used to do Lemon Peel, and they're very similar in the way they look. But okay, and then we have this giant bag. So sometimes, I don't know what happens, but I measure wrong, and I measured way wrong with this particular bag. But I do love that button. Like, how cute is that flower and leaf pressed button? I love that. So this one is the 78 Tarot, so I went with greens for this one. Look, the 78s, I got rid of most of the ones that I had. The 78 Ecological, which is this one, is one of the ones that I've kept. So I have not kept many. This is one of the few that I did keep because I did like the majority of the cards, whereas the other ones I did not. I hate that they're oversized, and this is a bit more pleasant of a cardstock than the glossy one. I really don't like the glossy cardstock, but yeah, this is the 78 Tarot Ecological. Okay, so this bag, once again, massive. This was bobble stitch. So it's not one I've used again because I find it catches a lot. And this one I have done with the Dream Keepers Tarot. So I'll just put the baggie over here. This is a mass market deck. It's got a lot of somber blue tones to it. It's a little eerie, it's a little dreamlike, nightmarish, absurd, but I find the guidebook is phenomenal with this one, and it's just a really great tarot deck, to be honest with you. So I don't have a lot of mass market tarot decks. The majority are indie, but yeah, this one is fab. Okay, so here we've got a massive bag because the deck is so massive. I love this yarn. Just love the black and the pops of neon. So in here is my Pythonic Tarot. Does it really match? No, but I just really love the yarn, so I wanted to use it for this deck. The Pythonic Tarot is indie. It's very witchy. It's probably like my most witchiest deck. I love the uses of color in this one. It's got a spooky vibe. It's definitely one I would use in spooky season. I love the imagery on here. The book is great. It is written in a bit of a weird way where it's just sort of individual sentences all piecemeal together, but it works. So this is a fantastic deck and I love it. Okay, so here we have a bag that I did not make. So this came with this bag. This is the Tarot Erotique. So it's a little purple velvet bag. I should mention too if I do mods. So I've edged mine in a pink, hot pink. These are the backs. I freaking love the backs. This is nudity warning to the extreme, guys. This is a cheeky, fun, poppy kind of deck. It's lewd and crude and I love it. It cheers me up. I cannot use this deck and not be cheered up because you just... there's a lot of genitalia in your face and that kind of like takes a serious, and it's like this guy's got a flower in his butt cheeks. You know what I mean? So I do love it. It reads really well for me. I don't showcase it a lot on the channel because, you know, like I think it's very confronting for a lot of people, but I don't shy away from nudity, so I love it, and it's just fun. It's fun, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, every time I look at it. It's a lot of these images are taken from an actual porn scene going on, so there is penetration in this deck. Okay, so here we go. So I don't always make bags, as you can see. Some I keep in their boxes, and for some reason, the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum, I did not want to take out of the box. I just felt like it wanted to stay in it. Sometimes decks kind of like speak to me, I guess, in a way, and this one's like, yeah, we don't want to be in a woolen bag, thanks. We would rather stay in the box that we came with. So I'd been looking at this deck for ages, and it wasn't until I saw this copy. I just love the saturation of color. I think it's freaking stunning. It's got a bit of a, what's that 80s outrun kind of vibe to it. And I love it. This was the first deck I purposely purchased that did not have a guidebook come with it. So it's always got a special place for me in that way, because I was finally at a point where I could just read the tarot without a guidebook. And yeah, I read perfectly well with this. So this little dude and I are good friends. Okay, so here we have another bag, which I made too big. That is generally, it does happen quite a lot. I just don't remeasure, and I think it's going to be fine. So this is a mass market deck, and this is the Midnight Magic, and I've edged it in the same color as the backs. This one has bowed. So this is mass market. I don't love the cardstock on this one. It's not the best. But this really took me by surprise. So I am a fungi fan. I'm a mushroom madam. I adore them, and I'd bought a few decks before this and rehomed all of them. This was the first mushroom tarot that I actually liked, and I think the selection of the mushrooms with each card is phenomenal. Like, they did it really, really bloody well. So this was quite a surprising deck, but I like the imagery, and yeah, that's the Midnight Magic. So I just wanted to say that I have walkthroughs for every single deck that you see here today. So if you want to know about a deck in more detail, they're on my channel. So in this one in here, we have the Dreamy Moons. I said it so weirdly. The Dreamy Moons Tarot. So this one is an indie deck. It's by an artist who lives in Australia. and I previously purchased a lot of her stuff, especially her diaries and journals. I will admit though that I was slightly disappointed in this because I love her artwork. I just feel like this one didn't look as great or amazing as her other artwork. But that being said, I still like the deck. I still use it. I still read with it. But it just, yeah, it wasn't as amazing as I thought it was going to be based on the creator's previous artwork, you know. But otherwise, yeah, it's a good deck. And it's actually, I think this is my most popular video that I've ever posted, the one that is the most watched. So that's interesting. Okay, so in this bag, sometimes I don't like the color of the yarn, but if it matches the backs, like I felt like this one really does. Yeah, I'm like, I just have to go with it. If I have a yarn that does match the backs, I have to go with it. I edged mine in a pink, but it didn't really take the color well. This is the Playful Heart Tarot. I almost got rid of this. I actually started modding it. I actually started cutting it out to paste like this one. This is the card that I cut. This is the, I think it's the Nine of Pentacles, to put in my diary, and then I stopped myself. And then I thought, I'm just going to put it away. It's because the guidebook for this is just not for me. The way that it is written, the language that is used is just, it makes me cringe. And this was one of the first decks I bought. So I just thought, I can't read with this deck. I don't understand the meanings. I'm just going to, you know, get rid of it. And then I stopped myself. I just put it away. And then obviously when I could read tarot, I was like, let me get this out again. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this. So this was the deck that sort of changed my opinion about being too hasty with rehoming decks. Sometimes I am in a weird mood and it's just not connecting. But look, there's cases where there are decks that I hate immediately and I just don't like them at all. So that's a different case. But the ones that I'm uncertain about, I now keep in my collection for a couple of months and keep trying them out before deciding to rehome. And any ones that I'm like, it's okay, I actually keep now. I just have made more space. That was my biggest issue, was that I don't have enough space, but I decluttered and created some space in a bookshelf. So any decks that are like, they're okay, that's where they go, because this could be a situation where, you know, in the future I pick it up and I bloody love it. Okay, so here we have this bag with a mother of pearl button. This yarn was horrible to work with because it's like half silk, and I discovered that I really don't like the tactile sensation of silk. So this is the Ethereal Alchemist Tarot. This is an indie deck. As you can see, I just chose pinks because the backs are just plain pink. The backs just really don't go with the vibe of this deck. So there's sometimes you have decks and the backs just do not go. So this is what I have instead of, I guess, Daniel Noel, or I can't remember who the artist is that has this very similar photo collage style. Normally I don't like this kind of style of artwork, but I like this particular deck. I think the guidebook is really great. This one can be super pippish. So there are cards that I'm very upset with, especially like Nine of Pentacles. A lot of the Pentacles actually, seems like the author, my creator, might have just gotten, you know, impatient and just wanted to finish the deck, and so that ended up with a lot more pips than some of the other suits are less pippy. God, I hate the Lover's card of this though. So this is a mixed bag deck. This is a deck that I keep in spite, to be honest, in spite of the artwork. I just do like the way it reads and I do like the guidebook, but the style of this is not me whatsoever. It's just not my jam. But this was the Ethereal Alchemist Tarot. Okay, so here we have the Herbcrafters Tarot. So you've got a bit of a scene in the button in this one, which I think is cute. I love Herbcrafters. It reminds me of my grandmother. So as you can see, that's what I've matched to the bag. I like the artwork in this one. It seems very slice of life. It's the one that I think is very easy to, what's the word when you step into the card and you put yourself in the card itself? I can't remember what that's called. It'd probably come to me later at a random time, but I find this would be an easy one to do that with. But it's just very evocative of my childhood. I am a plant girl for show as well, so I love all of the plant elements associated with this. I think it's well written. I don't really use this one as a divinatory though at all. This is sort of inner work or self-care kind of for me, more therapeutic than it is for divination. And that is the Herbcrafters Tarot, which is a mass market deck. And I have edged mine in a green. I keep forgetting to show if I've done edging. Okay, so next up we have the Pocket Size 78 Animal Tarot. I edged mine in multiple colors. This one doesn't have a bag because it sits on my desk. I wanted a tarot deck that could just be on my desk and I could quickly pull cards if I needed to. So it had to be small, and I'd gotten this as an addition in the other 78 tarot. So I don't love this deck because I'm not like a big animal, well, insect, you know, kind of person. So I don't love it, but it does the job. You know, maybe in the future, if I get another pocket deck that I like more, I might, you know, replace this one, but it doesn't take up much space. And like I said, it just does the job. Here we have the Cat Tarot. So once again, no bag for this one because this went to my daughter and she wanted to keep the box. So I also didn't edge it because she did not want me to edge it. So this is a very heartwarming deck for me. This is the deck that I probably giggle the most with. It just really does make me laugh. Man, I can't, yeah, like, and not laugh. It's such a good mood deck for me. I love cats, you know, I am a cat lady, and this just really epitomizes all of the different energy and facets of cats. This is probably, I think, the most accurate depiction of cat energy for me. So yeah, I like this deck. This is a mass market deck, and I do like that factor. I hate that it's got the Roman numerals, you know, and it's a bit hard to just say, like, what is this? Is this the Pentacles suit? So I don't love that the way that they reference the minor arcana, but otherwise, yeah, it's such a cute deck. So next up we have the Cute Cat Tarot. So this is a indie deck, and that's the box. It's a rose petal finish. It has holographic edging. These are the backs, and yeah, my eldest daughter took this one. This one has a very much more like kawaii, pastel, calming energy to it. My eldest daughter prefers that. She's a Virgo. She likes things to be, you know, not overstimulating and overwhelming. It's the same way, like the way she dresses. She wears very neutral color tones and, you know, cottons and very simple, basic, and that's why she preferred this deck over the other cat deck. But it is super cute. I'm going to be honest, I almost never ever feel called to using this one. It's also because it now belongs to my eldest daughter, and I really just don't want to ask for her permission because she can be a bit intimidating. All right, so in here, this is not the bag I made for it. Sometimes I make bags and then I hate them, and then I'm just left with excess bags, and my youngest daughter just takes them all and she just shoves random shit in them. So this one, she shoved this deck in here, but this bag was not made for this deck. I never made a bag for it because I didn't like it. So this is the Loaf Tarot. This was a Kickstarter deck. Look, the quality is good. It's got the holographic, you know, edging. It's on the slippy cardstock. It's got foiling. It's got all the stuff. But yeah, it just, I don't know, online it looked better than it did in person. So this is multiple animals. I think this is a multi-artist deck as well, I think. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it's got the person's name on the sides. But yeah, in person, it just felt very young, you know, and a lot of the artwork felt more like computer drawn, like, you know, Procreate rather than hand drawn. And I do prefer physical medium art more than digital art. So straight away I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And I tried reading it. We just weren't a match. So, but my youngest daughter saw it and her eyes lit up. She's like, yes, I will take it. So it went straight into her collection. But yeah, so it had a beautiful book that went with it. But once again, it's just, I don't know, it just wasn't for me. So this is the Loaf Tarot. Okay, so here is the next bag, and it's just got a very simple sort of jewel button on it. It's very moody, and I did it to sort of match the backs. Like, I don't know if you can pick it up, but there are bits of like pink and purple sort of in the stars. This has its own shiny gilding, and this is the Heartscape Tarot, and this was out of stock for so long. So this is from Tabata, and it was out of stock, and I was so bummed because I just really liked it. I love the imagery in it. I love the scenes, the scene setting. Each card is, once again, its own sort of world, and I adore that. Obviously, there are some that I like more than others, but overall, it's also got a very moody kind of tone to it. You know, I think it's like the beginning of winter is what I would call the energy. But there are so many cards that I just love that bring me so much joy And it has Studio Ghibli vibes to it, even though it's not in that style. It just feels like that to me. It's got that kind of coziness. But yeah, I really bloody like this deck, and I don't even mind that it's landscape because I just like it so much. It's just very evocative for me. I believe this one has a guidebook, but it's not like fantastic, you know. I think there is some AI elements in this deck, but not 100% like AI. I think they might have used, you know, AI to craft one element of it, but there are human drawn things in there. Look at that little, it's a corgi, right? In the field of flowers, just like so cute. But yeah, I do almost like every single card, even that picture of just the votive candle. I just love that. So here is the Rain Shadow Tarot. So this is an indie deck, and it is still in its box because I don't think that I will be keeping this one. So these are the backs. That's the sides. I don't like the silver matte. I don't know, I feel like a better color could have been picked. So yeah, so this is an indie, it was a Kickstarter deck. And look, I do like the artwork, but for whatever reason, this just reads so cold for me. It's just, there's no spirit connection. There's no magical connection. I just don't feel anything from it. Like, this is literally a case where I feel like this is just a piece of paper with words printed on it. And like I said, that's just my personal experience. I know people, like, they freaking love this deck, you know, and it reads beautifully for them. I just, yeah, sometimes shit happens and I just didn't connect to this deck. I kept bringing it out. I've had it for a few months now. And every time I do a reading, it's the same thing. It just feels flat. And I don't know. There's no spark. There's no spark. There's no chemistry between us. So for whatever reason, I will be passing this one on, but that's why it doesn't have its own bag. Okay, so here is the bag for this one. So this was a beautiful yarn. I think this is Parkour Kitties, and I love it. And it's in, I think, Sunflower. I can't remember, but I've got my Lucid Dreams Beginners deck in here. This deck for me, it's got its own gilding, is my soul deck. So besides True Black, this would be the other deck that I would keep forever. I really learned how to read tarot with this because of the keywords and the planetary, astrological, elemental associations on the edges. The quality is beautiful. It is a matte linen cardstock, which I don't see a lot of. I see most linens are the glossy ones, but I actually prefer the matte linen. It's just, like I said, it's got beautiful foiling on the back and the front. I like the aesthetic in this one. I love everything about this deck. The guidebook is good. It's not super amazing, but it does break each card down into the career meanings, the love meanings, and I can't remember what the third one was, but so that they apply specifically to those subject matters. But yeah, absolutely adore this deck. Okay, apologies for the shaking. I've been trying out so many desk tripods. So far all of them have shooketh, but I've got another one coming, so hopefully that one works. I love this bag. Some bags I just love more than others. This one has special value because my girlfriend, one of my best friends, gave me one of the yarns that I put into this bag. So it's got a piece of her in it. So this is for my Kitten Nugget Tarot. This one has its own holographic edging and it's got the matte cardstock. This is an indie deck and it's adorbs. This was like, it was just very kitschy and very cute, but I was actually surprised by how well it read for me and how much fun that I had with it, because the aesthetic is it's not my aesthetic whatsoever. But my daughters had been stealing all of my cat decks from me, and I just wanted a cat deck of my bloody own, and then this came up on Kickstarter, and I'm like, all right, this will do. This will do. It had a very themed box and everything. Like, the creator really just executed it super duper well. I really wanted to purchase one of the Kitten Nuggets. You could actually buy a Kitten Nugget plushie, but that wasn't an option for people in Australia. So that bummed me out because I really wanted one of these dudes to go with it. But what can you do? Didn't happen. I was just happy that I was able to get the deck. So that was this one. Okay, and here we have the next bag. I've done little love hearts on here, and that should probably give you a hint as to which deck is in here, and that is the Tarot of Aphrodite. So this is not an exact match, but this is a case of where I wanted to just use what I have. So you'll see that in the future, a lot of the bags probably aren't perfectly matched, and that's until I get my yarn stash down. This only ended up in my hands thanks to the beautiful Rochelle from Amethyst Ascension, because the creator could not ship this deck to Australia. So Rochelle got it shipped to her and then passed it on to me, and I'm so thankful because I really like this bloody deck. I love Greek mythology. I like the Renaissance, artwork that's in here. I actually like the pink borders, even though normally I am not I'm not a border girly, but in this one it works. It just adds to like the feminine vibe that is Aphrodite. But yeah, this is a great deck, and I just wish that the guidebook had a bit more to it rather than just referencing the artwork that they used. I always like to have a guidebook of some sort, but this was not the case with this one. Okay, so here's the next bag. A lot of these are covered in cat hair, guys. This one has little butterflies, a little scene. This is Crunch Stitch, which I do think is super cute. I just don't use it very often, but I do like it. And this is the Alchemist Garden Tarot. So as you can see, I've also edged it in the same color that is on the backs of the cards. And another deck that I really, really love. I like the aesthetic of it. I like this sort of, it's that slippy cardstock. I like the, what do you call it? It's like old botanist journals. It's got that retro kind of vibe to it. And I think the plant choices are phenomenal. This is like, the plants in this blow my mind. I absolutely love it. And I love that they do have a keyword for the minor arcana on there. But the write-ups in the book, chef's kiss, guys. Just one of my favorite guidebooks of all time, to be honest with you. But yeah, this deck I think is really underrated. Not many people have it, but I think it's bloody phenomenal. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite plant decks of all time. Okay, so this bag is stretched to its limit. It was not meant to be this big, but this is because I bought the expansion pack for this deck and I thought I'll just squeeze it in. Like, it's so ridiculous. This is for the Spacious Tarot. So I went with blues and pinks. I edged mine in a blue, and then the expansion pack is in a silver. So I thought in case I ever wanted to quickly separate them, I can see it very clearly. This is beautiful quality. I just love the imagery on there. This is such a calming deck for me. It really does allow that sense of space and peace, and has that real nature quality to it. It is pippish, but they're illustrated pips, and I don't mind that whatsoever in this one. So yeah, I really enjoy this deck, and I do like the expansion pack that came with it. I really should make a bigger bag, but I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm really stubborn in that way. Like, once a bag's done for a deck, I'm like, that's it. I'm never going back. I am not redoing it. It is what it is, and let's move forward. Once a project is done, I just don't want to go back and tweak it and redo it. I just want to keep going. So that is a Spacious Tarot. Okay, here is the next one. I did a kind of real retro button in this to match the deck. I did spider stitch for this, which I haven't done again, but I think it is cute, but I might try it out again, I might not. So in this bag, I'm sorry for the light, I know that there's light coming on, is the Lame Hype Tarot. So this is definitely a silly deck for me. It's not something I ever use for serious readings. You can see the language and the terminology is redonkulous. I did not like the guidebook. It was funny, and I laughed and I giggled, but I don't use it whatsoever. But yeah, I like the aesthetic of it. I like the color palette, and it does make me laugh. I do think almost all of these pictures are probably from pornos. Some of them anyway. But yeah, so this one had a lot of pinks and greens, and browns, which is why I went with this particular bag for it. Okay, so this is the next bag. I'll do a little close-up of the button there. This is pinks and blues. I made this one too big, once again. And in here, I've got my guided hand tarot. I'll move that up. I'm not sure what this is going to be like color-wise. I think I re-edged mine in a light blue. I think it had sort of like a grey edging to it. I can't quite remember, but I went over it in a baby blue. So this is a collage deck. It is an indie deck. And I really like it. It's got a very sort of gentle energy to it, but still quite like serious for me. But I like the mixed collage, style. I think some of this was done analog, I believe. But yeah, it's been good. It took me a little bit to, this picture is the only picture that I'm just like, what the heck? What is wrong with her face? That's the one that's the only one that's, I'm like, what is that? But yeah, otherwise, yeah, it took me a bit to get to know this one, but it's staying. Okay, so this is the next bag. That is the button that goes with it. Oh, there goes Willow. Let's see what's inside. Oh, it's my Earthchild Tarot. So look, some of these walkthroughs are still lined up. So they're in the schedule. This one hasn't been aired yet because I haven't worked with it yet. I can't work with like more than, I don't know, 6 or 8 decks per month. So I do have to stagger them down the line. So I haven't worked with this one yet. But I just really liked the childlike imagery and the use of pencils. It's very nostalgic for me. I was definitely a Derwent's girl and I kept mine in the box all lined up. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with it. The interview and the original readings that I've already done were fantastic. So it has a great start and I just think I'm really going to enjoy my time with it. But I haven't gotten to know it yet. So we'll have to wait and see. But as you can see, yeah, I matched it to the yellows and the blues. The colours of the bags are not coming up on the screen. I can see it in the viewfinder. I don't know why. I think it's just the lighting is a bit weird. But this one is a lovely light blue and yellow. Okay, so next up we've got this fun bag. So this one I did also too big. This was a bit tricky because it is a square deck. And sometimes the square decks are just really hard to utilize. So I went with all these pastel colors because this deck has a lot of pastel colors. And this deck is the Mother Tarot. And why is these two this way? I haven't worked with this one yet either. This is scheduled. But I just liked it straight away. You know when you get those decks and as soon as you take them out, you're like, hello, I think you and I are going to be great friends. I really enjoy it. And like I said, the very few readings I did with it initially were fantastic. I love the artwork in this. It's very pretty. I enjoy the diverse rep in it as well. But even though it's a square and it's not easy to shuffle, I don't mind. I just think it's stunning. It really is. So this was definitely a love at first sight. I love the breastfeeding. Thank you. Yes. Deck for me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how we get along. Okay, so this is the next bag. I'm trying to do it close so you can see the button. It's one of those butterfly buttons. This was done in Star Stitch, which I love Star Stitch, but I don't like doing it. So, oh my God. Sorry, guys. So this one I did not match to the backs, as you can see. I kind of matched it to the front because I feel like this deck had a lot of the moody colors that are in this one. So this has very sort of rich, kind of almost autumnal coloring to me. This is the This Might Hurt Tarot deck. This is the indie version because I know that it is now mass market. This is probably one of the very few modern decks that I have because I just don't normally go for modern, but I really enjoy this one. I like I said, once again, the diverse rep. I like the illustration style, like the cartoon style. I think the guidebook is also great. But yeah, I do enjoy this deck. I'm glad I have the indie version. I think the mass market is still really well done though, but it's a little bit different to this one. But yeah, I think this was one of the very first indie decks I bought as well that I bit the bullet on. But yeah, this is the This Might Hurt Tarot. Next up, we have this bag. Oh, this is so soft, this yarn. This is, I can't remember, this is Cat Stitch. I can't remember the real name, but it looks supposed to look like cats. It really should be done in alternating color yarn, so not a variegated, because you can't see when it's variegated like that. But in here, I have my, I aged mine in a shimmery blue, my Adventure Time Tarot deck. So I think this is the only fandom deck that I have, I think. I don't know, I might end up making a liar of myself. I just got into it this year with my kids. We started watching it thanks to my ex-boyfriend, or was it last year? Could have been last year into the start of this year. Time just is weird when you're old. It's all the same. And we just fell in love with it. I bloody love this show. So I can't wait for, I think they're doing a new season called Fiona and Cake, but I just thought this was done really well. I don't agree with all of the choices for the cards, but it just hits me in the feels, you know. My favorite character is Lumpy Space Princess. Oh my glob. I love them to the stars and back. But yeah, this is such a great show and it's got such great memories for me with my kids. And so I had to get the deck for it. Okay, so now we've got this bag here with this sparkly purple button. I love the colors in this. I'm just such a sucker for blue, pinks, and purples together. So in this, we have an indie deck, and I didn't really match it to the backs as much as I matched it to the colors in the deck. So the colors in this deck are a lot of pinks, purples, and blues. And this is the Lovely Ladies Tarot. So this was a bit of a sort of risk for me. I pre-ordered this. They didn't show every card in the deck on their Etsy. And the reason that I got this deck is because I'd had this card pinned on my Pinterest. And I think the creator originally only had the major arcana done. And that's why those images were on Pinterest. But then I saw, oh, a full tarot deck of it. So I thought, why not? I don't love the gilding. It's one of the sharp gildings, but otherwise it's very cute. It's like, yeah, it's not normally me, but you know, as long as it reads well and you come away from the reading like, yeah, that was, I heard what I needed to hear and that helped me and blah, blah, blah. That's all that matters. So I do love the color palette and I think it's very pretty. And I think it's one of those decks that you probably could use for other people because it's not confronting. Even the confronting cards are not confronting, you know? So I think this would be an appealing deck to use for other people as well. Okay, so this is the next bag, which I also made way too big, but I just love that the button just goes so well with the bag. I love that. So in here, I have my Tarot of Oneness. And as you can see, like where I got the color inspiration for the bag, because it's just so colorful, this deck. I saw this on Kickstarter and I don't know why I didn't back it. I don't know. I just didn't. And then I saw it on everybody's channels and I'm like, girl, you need to get that deck. And luckily I could. It's great quality. I like the guide book. The imagery is quite varied once again. So each card is its own little world and some I love more than others. Like I don't really love this one. So it's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of the artwork, but overall it's a good reader. People also enjoy it. I think people like seeing sort of varied artworks as well. Like it's just a bit more interesting to the eye when every single card is just so different. But yeah, it's a great deck, and yeah, next time I need to be a bit more discerning. I guess with Kickstarter, I need to give things a bit of a better look. I can be a bit quick to be just like, nah, not for me. So next time I'll spend more time deciding and deliberating, because yeah, sometimes too, not all the time the creators will not always put their decks, you know, up for sale on Etsy afterwards. Sometimes it's Kickstarter and that's it, you know. Yes, this is the last deck I'm showing you today. So this is the last deck I'm showing you today. I hope I've shown them all, because yeah, my decks are all over the place in different rooms, but this was done in waffle stitch and I just don't feel like waffle stitch is good for bags. This is good for tea towels, you know. This is my own tarot deck. So I'm showing you the Make Playing Cards linen edition. I edged mine in a wine. And this was a deck that I made to go with my Persephone work. I wanted a Persephone, Queen of the Underworld style of tarot. I wanted it to be real moody, real like scorpionic. I wanted to have elements for the courts that I felt went with Persephone. And yeah, so I made this myself. Like I said, I have walkthroughs for every deck on here. If it's not up, it's because it's coming. It's because I haven't actually worked with that deck yet. But this one also, I put up a link on the walkthrough, so you can actually download this and print it yourself if you like. So I added an extra card to the major arcana. But yeah, this was a really fun experience. I really enjoyed doing this one. As you can see, I used a very limited color palette. Oh, that one's upside down. Oh, these are all upside down. And yeah, it was like, obviously I learned a lot of things too, like, hey, you can't actually see 4 of air written there. You know, it's a learning process when you make your own decks. But yeah, I had a ball with it, and you know, it sort of encouraged me to keep making my own decks. because it's so fun. I wouldn't go with make playing cards again though, because they're so bloody expensive, even though the linen quality of the cardstock is chef's kiss. Too expensive. Game Crafters is less than half the price. Less than half. Like, Game Crafters is more than half the price of make playing cards. Like, it's significant. It's a significant difference. But yeah. Sorry, I've got like stuff everywhere. But these are all my tarot decks, I think, that I have kept. Obviously, there are some. Oh, I've got to go. That I've given away. Lots that I've given away. But this is what's currently in my collection. So until next time, stay wild, Star Child.